Thanks, Jack. Thanks, everyone. So my name's Laura Prentice, and I'm the Threatened Species Officer with EMAC.
And I'm Leilani Clark. I work as the Water Officer.
Thanks, Lani. As Jack said, we're just going to quickly have a chat about how we arrived at our vision for ground parrot country. So Jack did explain ground parrot country sits on Gudabanud country near the border with Kiray Wurrong. Many of you know this country and have a strong relationship with it. The wet heaths are specifically what we're talking about when we're talking about ground parrot, although that it doesn't sort of exist as a block. It's a mosaic with the dry heaths and all the other good stuff up there. And thanks, Jack, for bringing up Tamika's work. At this forum over the last few years, you've heard Tamika talk about some of those trials and that the work that's happening to try and work out how to fix the shrub encroachment that's become such a big issue. I'll do this.
The eastern ground parrot is currently absent from Gadibanung country.
So as Leilani just said, there aren't any ground parrots on eastern Maar country at the moment. So the focus for us is on how do we restore country so that one day it can be ready to welcome ground parrots again. What are we up to here? So we've got lots of different people doing lots of different projects in this part of the world. So EMAC decided to bring them together to try and get everyone working on the same page and just to build those relationships. So we spent some time on country with researchers looking at the trial sites, getting a bit of an understanding for the nuances and the absolutely enormous challenges of how to manage that shrub encroachment. Which Tamika's work is really informing. We then got everyone together for a full day workshop. And the first part of that workshop was really just a learning. So we had presentations from researchers and current sort of fire practitioners to look at exactly what's happening at the moment so that everyone understood and was at the same sort of point. Everyone had the same information to start with. Now, we were incredibly fortunate to get an amazing breadth of skills and experience and knowledge in that room. We had DECA as facilitators of the day. So they have a process that they run called multi-factor prioritization. So that was the kind of nuts and bolts of the workshop. But in the room, we had traditional owners, fire practitioners, threatened species experts, land managers, ecologists, including the ecologist who, as far as we know, is the last person to actually hear ground parrot in the Carlisle. So that was great to have him there. We had mulching experts, we had people with a biocultural approach, researchers, weed experts, as well as interest from ground parrot experts from other states and other parts of the country where there still are ground parrots. So we had a lot of people with a lot of skills doing a lot of really hard work. So how do we make sure everyone's kind of going to the same place? So we needed a vision. So EMAC presented a vision to that room, and then all those people with all those experience kind of tweaked it and modified it a little bit. And Lani is going to share it with you now.
Don't mind me if I mark up some words, but
You'll be fine.
We are on ground parrot country. It's 2045. There are patches of wet heath and patches of dry heath. In the wet heath, we can see over the tops of the plants. Most plants are just under a metre tall, but a few taller trees and shrubs are scattered around. Some areas are more open and some are taller and thicker. Many animals and plants are thriving here. There is a good enough mix of plants that make seeds and ground parrots like to eat. Like button grass trees, the plants are thick enough for ground parrots to hide from foxes and other predators. We washed our boots before we came in. It's important to protect this area from outside threats such as Phytophthora and keep it safe. There are not many foxes or cats, and their access from the best areas for ground parrots is blocked by the cleverly designed bands of dense vegetation, for example, along road edges. The tall shrubs had taken over most of the area back in 25 are just a memory. Fire is being used in the way that supports and protects ground parrot country. The people using the fire have a deep knowledge and connection to ground parrot country. East and Maar are fulfilling our cultural obligation by leading the management of this country. People intimately know Grand Parrot country, its seasons, its sounds, its silence, its movements, and have a deep ongoing relationship with it. Everyone who cares for Grand Parrot country, regardless of the uniform they wear, is connected. Working together, we all share a biocultural approach that recognises the deep interconnection between ecosystems and human culture. Grand Parrot country is ready for Grand Parrots again.
Well done. Thank you. Just point out a couple of little things as part of this vision. Sorry. No, you're right. I've just gone off script, that's all. Part of the vision is that because we are working so closely with researchers and land managers in this landscape, we're integrating the science into this vision. So, for example, the bit that talks about predator access being blocked by the vegetation along the road edges, Jack alluded to that in the Mark's Potteroo work, which is, if you're not burning right up to the road edge, it gives the predators less access. So there's lots of little things in this vision that are really carefully thought out and really connected with all of the work that lots of people are doing. So it was great that day to sit in a room with all these probably 40 or 50 people and everyone kind of go, oh yes, I can imagine that landscape looking like that, feeling like that again in the future, and then it being ready for ground parrots. So with that vision in mind, we then spent the rest of the day workshopping the various actions that we can do to achieve that vision. We looked at everything from how technically feasible those actions are. Did we have the resources? Did we kind of feel like we would have social license to do some of that work, as well as the positive and negative potential impacts on other parts of the ecosystem, so on other species. Do I need to go? So we looked at what could be done. So this is kind of the work Tamika's doing, the mulching, the slashing, the rolling, even herbicide potentially, and the various combinations of that work. We then looked at how those activities might be approached. So how do we do it in a way that is more connecting for traditional owners, that also reduces predation, and that prioritises climate resilience? We want to have this work be long lasting, so we need to be working on those sites that are going to be the most resilient to climate change. And how do we eventually scale it up so it's bigger and it's not just these trial sites? And the third kind of theme was managing all the other threats that are out there. So the big ones are Phytophthora, predators, protecting existing habitat. And out of that day, we're still pulling together the report and all of the details. But basically, the thing that we learnt out of that day is that there's three main things to know. And that is that we need to know country, we need to keep learning, and we need to work together. So all of that's already happening, but it's also just good to have that real clarity. Oh, I've lost my notes. Sorry about that. We did identify really specific opportunities for collaboration, specific questions that need answering before we can start to scale up. And we also, it just showed us the importance of the trials that are currently happening, as well as other trials that are proposed, so that we can just keep learning and keep adapting as we learn more. This is you.
As you can see, there are many other animals up there, but ground parrot country has other important species too. Although we want to manage for ground parrots, we cannot forget about these species. All of country is important, none above and none below. A shared vision for ground parrot country is important to EMAC because we want to restore country, and all the people involved are just as important as the eventual outcome. Thanks for listening. The key messages are to restore country, ground parrot country. We all need to know country, keep learning, and work together. Thank you. Good work. That was scary.
Thanks, guys. Do you want to take a quick question? One question while I do the IT?
There's time and it's good.
No, there's time, you bastard.
She's gone.
Leilani's smarter than you.
Oh, you're probably right.
Oh, I have to look, don't
No,
I?
there's no questions.
No
Excellent.
questions. Off you
Awesome.
go. On you.